I'm Kate Golden. I'm the digital editor at Bay Nature. It's lovely to see you all here. Recently, I was researching a piece about the San Francisco Bay, and Victoria lent me a natural history of the San Francisco Bay. On the cover is a lady in a wetsuit doing something with a net. Friends, that was none other than our last local hero of the evening, Katharyn Boyer. And she was characteristically all up in that eelgrass. To me, seeing this spoke to just how essential Kathy and her work have become to the story of the Bay. She is literally on the cover. Now, Kathy, a professor at San Francisco State University, is the interim director of the university's Estuary and Ocean Science Center, aka the EOS Center, which is where people go to learn how to rescue our shorelines from climate change. There, she teaches a class on restoration ecology for which there is no textbook, because she and others doing this kind of work are in the thick of figuring it out right now. Now, it is very glamorous work, this kind of science. What size pebbles do you need to keep the bay from slipping into the ocean? How do you make an artificial reef that a person can lift so that you can actually invite volunteers to help? Kathy's kind of instruction involves dragging students into the actual weeds, as well as into the more metaphorical weeds of the American regulatory landscape. Lately, she has been working hard to keep the EOS Center going because SF State decided not to keep funding it after nearly a half century. Kathy and her colleagues have big dreams for the EOS Center, and they have been raking in some grant money. Well, we regret that Kathy could not be here today, but we have Evan Borgness-Sloan here to accept on Kathy's behalf and say more about her work. Evan works at the Coastal Conservancy, and she was one of Kathy's many devoted former grad students, and today she is a collaborator with Kathy. Evan, thank you for being here today, and before I present this award, we want to share this moment with Kathy later and show her how much the Bay Nature community appreciates her work. So I have my colleague Anushuya here. Are you here? Okay. To take a video of you all, which means that you best make yourselves heard. So, Evan, on behalf of Bay Nature, I present to you the 2024 Environmental Educator Award for Dr. Katharyn Boyer. Make some noise for Katharyn.
That was incredible. Thank you so much. And I've just been so inspired by all of the speakers here today so far. So as Kate mentioned, I'm Evan Borgness-Sloan. I'm a current colleague of Kathy's and her former graduate student. I currently work at the California State Coastal Conservancy, where I'm our Deputy San Francisco Bay Program Manager, and can confidently say that my career success so far is in large part due to Kathy's mentorship and friendship. I'm honored to be accepting this award on her behalf, and I know she's greatly saddened to not be here. I'd like to take this time to quickly share why I nominated her along with other people and why she's so deserving of this award. So Dr. Katharyn Boyer is currently the acting director at San Francisco State's EOS Center, as mentioned, as well as a professor of biology and a leading researcher in tidal wetlands, eelgrass, living shorelines, and other nature-based adaptation solutions, trying to combat the impacts to climate change on San Francisco Bay. But if you ask her students from her undergraduate classes, her graduate students, her colleagues, or her friends, she's so much more. Kathy takes her students under her wing in a uniquely personal way. She becomes genuinely interested in her students' lives and careers and makes every effort to help them, whether that be through letters of recommendation, tireless guidance on master's thesis or publications, by always helping and having an open door for connection and moral support. Kathy is loved by her students for her down-to-earth, warm personality, and her ability to connect with students is one of her attributes that make her an exceptional environmental educator. She's my science mother, But she's also a real mother to her son, Neil, who is next to her in this photo on the left, and who's also in the audience today. Neil, you're gonna have to introduce yourself afterwards. The last time I saw you, I think you were 10 years old and we were playing Magic the Gathering, yes. She's an important, strong female role model for young women in the sciences. I know for me personally, she really demonstrated that it was possible to be dedicated to your work in restoration science and still be a great mother. So I'd like to quote one of her former students and a colleague of mine, Gavin Archibald from H.T. Harvey and Associates. He said, "I have lost count of all the times and ways that Kathy has helped me grow professionally. She hired me to work in her lab as an undergraduate and later as a teacher's assistant. She helped me become a graduate fellow with the South Bay Salt Pond Restoration Project, apply for numerous scholarships and grants, design my master's experiments, and help me publish in 2 different journals. She was the person who connected the dots for me, helped me successfully discover and navigate the bridge between school and a career as an environmental scientist." And while she is extremely busy guiding numerous undergraduate and graduate students, Kathy is also leading the charge in real on-the-ground restoration of several different habitat types and species in San Francisco Bay. For example, the California sea blight, or Sueda californica, was previously extirpated from San Francisco Bay. Her friend and fellow ecologist Peter Bay had the idea of reintroducing the plant to San Francisco Bay, and of course, Kathy grounded that idea in reality. She led the reintroduction at 3 sites in San Francisco Bay, while also studying the species to understand anything her and her students could do to help ensure its success, like discovering that sea blight thrives when placed with dead eelgrass at its base, feeding the plant with nutrients. She moved beyond simple reintroduction, though, and started studying how the plant provides benefits to the overall ecosystem function, like providing high tide refugia for species when planted in a way so that it could crawl up sticks and other plants called arboring. She also works with systemically excluded communities in restoring this species by partnering with Literacy for Environmental Justice in San Francisco, bringing students out to help with the restoration efforts and talking to them about what it's like to be a wetland ecologist and restoration practitioner. And I'd be remiss if I didn't mention that Bay Nature did an article on Kathy and Peter's work on Sueda in the July 2016 issue. Go check that out. Kathy has also led the charge on applied research and of eelgrass restoration, but not just the research. She is actually the entity leading the restoration efforts themselves on the ground, an amazing feat for such a small biology lab at San Francisco State. Kathy and her students have managed to establish the best restoration techniques for eelgrass in San Francisco Bay. Keith Merkel, another leader in eelgrass restoration across the state, said, "Kathy has been a leader in the field of restoration research when it comes to eelgrass in San Francisco Bay. She and her students at the EOS lab have participated in over 25 eelgrass restoration programs and pilot planting studies in the Bay, advancing education, research, and habitat restoration over the past 2 decades. Her contributions have contributed to 75 acres of new eelgrass in the Bay, including persistent new eelgrass meadows. Since 2014, she has participated in restoration of an average of more than 2 acres of eelgrass per year, with targeted natural expansion from this restoration. Key to her contribution to Bay eelgrass habitat is the integration of student research and educational experiences in the restoration programs to foster greater gains in the future of environmental sustainability." Her work spans the whole wetland ecosystem, though, from the subtidal all the way to the wetland upland edge. Her and her students continue to study the best methods for restoring tidal marsh communities and species in the face of climate change. She has also partnered with my agency, and in particular my colleague Marilyn Lotta, to establish a decade's worth of strong science on the biological and physical benefits of living shorelines in San Francisco Bay. She continues to demonstrate to restoration practitioners, funders, regulators, academics, communities, and more the benefits of utilizing nature in the fight against sea level rise. Her applied research, restoration activities, and direct input has provided critical information for large planning documents and policies, including her role in the San Francisco Bay Subtidal Habitat Goals Report. Her and her students are now studying the potential for ocean acidification reduction from eelgrass restoration as science that would have direct input to California climate policy efforts. This is a rendering from Bionic during the Resilient by Design work in San Rafael, which I just thought was too cool to not include. And all of this on-the-ground restoration in science is hard. The conditions are wet, salty, windy, and very, very muddy. She has adopted the best method to get across the mudflats called the mud scoop and will always bring joy to this difficult field work. Finally, I have to highlight her leadership role at the EOS Center. As an alumni of EOS, I have experienced the importance of this educational and research center on my academic and professional career. EOS provides high caliber scientific training in estuarine and ocean sciences, so much so that everyone calls the master's thesis their mini PhDs. Her leadership in keeping the EOS Center strong by finding numerous grant funding, outreach for private funding support, and demonstrating the benefits of the center to a wide audience are incomparable. She's a visionary for the Estuarine Ocean Science Center, keeping the dream of transformation strong, as can be seen in this drawing. Thank you.